I got into a conversation the other day with a buddy of mine, and me and him described the same thing in two different views. And I found that fascinating, right? Like I got an inside look at how the human mind works, right? And how much our own views and beliefs shape our opinions, right? Now, this isn't revolutionary shit, right? What I'm saying now, it's been discovered many, many, many years ago. But it is still amazing. It's like a rainbow, right? Like we all know what a fucking rainbow looks like more now than never. But you'll look outside and it's still amazing, right? You'll be like, God damn, look at that. How the fuck does that happen? And even though you know the science behind it, right? Like the when it rains and the light and all that, I don't even know to be honest with you, as you can tell. But still, even though I know what a rainbow looks like, I see it everywhere. And then when you finally see one in real life, it's still amazing. I remember I remember that video with the guys like double rainbow, and he was like crying. Like I understand him. I don't know about the crying, but I yeah, I've gotten emotional a few times. Maybe not over a rainbow, but like over something that was just amazing. Like when I went to Colorado a few years ago and I hiked up like a mountain. And I remember just looking over Colorado from that mountain. I got a little emotional. I didn't cry or anything because I'm a tough man. But I felt a little choked up. I was also high. I will admit I was smoking weed on as I was walking up the trail, which I'm sure the locals love when tourists do that. And I remember just being high. I reached the summit, or is that what it is? The summit, the top of the mountain. I didn't climb. I just wasn't obviously wasn't the biggest mountain. And just looking over Colorado and just thinking like this is beautiful. So I get that double rainbow guy, you know? I understand. Even though you know the science behind what's going on, it's still amazing to watch. And okay, let's segue into why the fuck I'm bringing that up. So he described video games as escapism. It's a form of escaping, you know? And I described video games as a form of entertainment, right? Like when he plays video games, he escapes. He wants to escape the world. He wants to escape his duties. He wants to like just submerge himself into this digital world and completely leave all of his worries behind. Literally escaping, mentally escaping. I don't view games like that. I view game like when I play a video game, I don't go like I want to escape. I want to leave my duties. I want to shun all my responsibilities. I'm thinking like I just want to sit down and just play a game to have fun. You know, like I'm well aware of where I am. You know, I'll be currently I'm playing Cyberpunk for the second time, and you know, because I never got to do the Phantom Liberty DLC. So now I'm doing the regular base game and the DLC. So I'm just taking my sweet time with it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I love the combat in Cyberpunk. It's one of my favorite combats, one of my favorite video games that implement combat in a very good way, next to like Ghost of Tsushima or whatever. And where was I going with this? When I'm playing Cyberpunk, I don't think like I every like 15, 20 minutes I get up and I stretch or I'll go check the fridge, check my phone. I'll make dinner. Like yesterday I pan fried some dumplings. I'm doing that shit today because my girlfriend she made some delicious dumplings. And I'm just thinking like, oh, he's escaping, I'm entertaining. But you know, all right, if you want to get granular, sure, video games, regardless of who plays it, every time someone plays a video game, it is escapism. And that's what I told him. I was like, "You're correct, right? I think you're correct in its purest form. Video games are escapism." And then he went on to say, just like a book or like a show or a movie, you kind of just like you suspend belief and you enjoy the product, whatever that is. I hate saying the word product. It sounds so. It's like content. Like I make content. Like that's. So I got an inside view of the way he thinks, right? Which is it's not shocking, and I don't mean to throw shade, but he's not the most popular guy, Uh, I feel bad just talking about him because it sounds like I'm being nasty or I'm being shitty towards him, but I'm not. I'm just stating the truth. The truth is he necessarily doesn't have a lot of friends, doesn't have a girlfriend, doesn't even have a job right now. And then he views games as escapism. And I was just like, I kind of see why though, because you don't have much going on in your own personal life, right? And once again, that's not me being mean to him. That's me stating the obvious. Sometimes truth hurts, man. And my life, it's not the greatest. I'm not rich by any fucking means whatsoever, but my life is kind of fulfilling, Like I have a pretty good job. I'm about to start a brand new one soon. Still waiting on that, doing some onboarding things. And you know, I'm slowly advancing in my career, and like I have a girlfriend at me and her share an apartment, and we both play video games, and we both try to make room for traveling every single year, although it's been pretty hard this year. So my life and his life are complete opposites. Like I'm not gonna say that like like I have the best life ever, like my life is good all in all, I'm pretty happy. Of course, there's room for improvement, and I'm always trying to improve my life, whether it's financially, physically. Speaking of physically, after this is done, I got to work out, which is, you know, not fucking fun. I'm not looking forward to it, but I got to do it, right? I'm getting older. I'm going to be 40 soon. And anyways, so our lives, mine's and him, are totally different. And it's funny how I view gaming as an enhancement and he views gaming as like escapism. He wants to escape his life. I want to just make my life a little better by enhancing it. And I gave him the example of like drinking, right? Social drinking versus alcoholism. There's some people who are having a good time at the party and they have a few beers and it made their time even better. Their time spent there was even better. It was enhanced because they had a few beers and then they go home and that's it. That's the end of the night. As opposed to someone who abuses the alcohol, right? Because they need the alcohol to function and use it as a crutch. It decreases their anxiety. It fills in this void in their life. It makes them happy. So they overuse it, hence becoming alcoholics. I feel like that's kind of how me and him are living his life. And, you know, realistically speaking, he does have a host of mental issues also that he's shared with me, and you know that goes with what I was saying at the beginning of this video, which is just funny how depending on our circumstances and depending on our views, we see life completely different. Like me and him, we're experiencing the same thing in real time and at the same time, dynamically, but we have two radical different views, polar opposites. And it's kind of alarming, right? Because I have my share of mental issues too. I don't like to run around and put that on a badge and stick it on my shirt and let everyone know, like, hey, everyone, I'm team this or team. I don't like that shit. That's a private matter unless you're willing to share it. And if you are, great. In 2025, having mental issues is like being gay. It's like an accomplishment of some reason, for some reason. Of course, that's not the way it is all across the board, but I'm just saying, like, there are people in the gay community today who are touting their sexual preference as some sort of an accomplishment. Same thing with there's a lot of people, not all of them, once again, that have mental issues and they're touting them as some sort of an accomplishment. Like, I'm this or I'm that. And it's like, bro, you didn't achieve anything. That's actually an ailment. And the other one is just a preference. So it's like, you know, it's hard to talk about these things, right? Because it's like people are so tribal. That's the way we are by nature. And people don't like nuance. They forget about nuance, right? There's like, you're either team this or team that. You're either all in or you're all out. There is no like, oh, I agree with a little bit of that and I agree with a little bit of this. I always talk about this in and out of like these little podcast things that I do. There's always I'm always struggling with that with people because I feel like I get misunderstood a lot. Some people may hear me out and go like, he's a fucking racist bigot. And then, And I'm just like, nah, man, it's just, I fucking, there's nuances. So, there are some things about the gay community as well as, what do you call them now? They say neurodivergent. I'm not fucking using that. I'm not going to use retarded neither. That's pretty fucked up. Unless you mean it in a comical way. And good luck trying to make someone laugh using that word today. But I'm just saying that, like, do you know how insane I would sound if I say, I believe in this and I believe in this only, and I believe everything this does, and I believe everything that this person says? Like, I sound like a lunatic, like a flat out fucking nutcase, right? So when I see all this DEI slash woke stuff that's been going on, I know the word woke triggers people. I'm sorry, don't mean it. I'm just saying, I'm trying to describe something. So this DEI shit, it'll be insane for me to go, I agree with everything that DEI stands for, everything. I don't doubt nothing and I don't have any apprehensions or questions about anything. I shall accept what it. Do you understand how crazy I sound? And there's people out there who do that. It's just like, God damn, everything? You agree with everything that's going on? I don't agree with everything I think. And that's coming out of my own head. And I don't agree with everything my girlfriend tells me. I don't agree with everything my boss tells me. Like, and you want me to just wholeheartedly, sorry, agree with this movement or any movement, literally anything. So it's insane to me. Like, there's just people waiting in the wings to attack you and twist your words and call you this and call you that. They don't even know you and they label you these names. And it's insane. It's an insane world we live in. And um, I do hope that it's just something that starts to fizzle out as time goes on and people kind of get their shit together. But this conversation that me and my friend had made me think about a lot of things. It just made me think, like, man, how different me and him see the world. And I feel bad for him because, he obviously needs a lot of improvement in his life. And it seems like he's been going through some issues for a really long time. And there's nothing I can do. He's older than me, and also, you know, that how can I tell someone who's been around close to 12 to 15 years on this earth before I was born? Like, the dude was 12 to 15 years old before I was even, you know, swimming around in my dad's ball sack. That felt so weird saying that. You get the expression. I hope you do. So, yeah, like, there's nothing I can tell them. So I kind of just got to go, like, no, there's more than one way to see things. And of course, just like with anyone, I can't single him out for this. People get defensive, right, when you challenge them, when you make them think about something that is not in their sphere of beliefs, their ideas. Like, when you go, hey, that's actually not the way it is, or you go, hey, there is a different way to look at it. People don't like that shit. They just want you to just say yes, 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 yes to everything they do and everything that they say. And, you know, for people like me who are like, I would consider myself, if I can describe myself, I mean, I don't want to just label myself this, but one of my biggest traits, if you know me as a person, is realism. Like, I'm a very realistic person, and realism oftentimes gets confused with pessimism. That this is a gift and a curse for me. It follows me in my relationships. It follows me in my work life, personal life, you name it. Like, sometimes I'll say something and the person will kind of give me this look like, damn, that's pretty negative. And I'm like, no, 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 that's realistic. That's like, like, if I didn't study for a test, let me give you an example. And I think this example actually happened before too. I remember, oh, sorry, I'll give you the example. The example is, hey man, I didn't study for this test all week long, and then the test is tomorrow. And then I go, man, I'm gonna fail this test. I didn't fucking study for it. And then a friend would kind of look at me and go, like, that's really negative. Stop being negative. You got to be positive. You're gonna pass this test. And I'm like, no, bro, understand me. I didn't practice. I didn't. Well, maybe not practice. It's the right word for it. Study. I didn't study for this test all week long. I was supposed to. I was fucking off. All right. It's my fault. I'm going to fail the test tomorrow and I'm going to feel bad and then I'm going to get on the horse. And they're like, no, you're not going to fail, man. And then I'll go take the test and I fail. And they're just like, oh, man, it's just, you got to lock in, man. And I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, and the thing is, that's people in general, right? And it's like, no, 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 I'm not being pessimistic. I'm being realistic, man. I'm letting you know that I didn't and then in my brain, and once again, this is another view into a person's mindset, right? When people who do that, who go, hey, man, when I'm being realistic and they feel I'm being negative, that lets me know, that gives me an inside look in their brain, like, oh, they're like, they have this thing going on where they're like cloaking or protecting themselves by lying to themselves, by being in this little small state of denial, or maybe it's a big state of denial, but it's almost like they're protecting themselves. I remember there was a study done, or I read about a study being done about people who were depressed. People who are depressed are more realistic and about outcomes than people who are optimistic. And that makes perfect sense to me. I forgot. I think even this study was about testing, just like my example that I just gave you. But if I recall correctly, it was a bunch of depressed people and then a bunch of optimistic people were put in a room and they all had to take a test. But before they took the test, they were asked the question, how do you think you're going to fare on this test? How do you think you're going to do, good or bad? And optimistic people, of course, said, we're going to do great. I'm going to do great because I'm going to channel life's energies. And, if I put it out in the universe, I'm going to do fucking awesome. And then, like, depressed people were like, I'm not doing great because I didn't study. I'm not doing great. Oh, shit, I'm depressed. Just had this epiphany. No, but seriously, though, they were like thinking realistically. And it turns out that the depressed people by a landslide ended up being right. They were like, yeah, all these people here said they weren't going to do good on the test, and they didn't. And they were all depressed. They were all depressed. And it's like, damn. There I guess there's a fucking pro to everything, right? Like, how is it you don't want to, how can you market depression? Hey man, you want to be more realistic about life? Be depressed. How do you market that? So, but this ties to what I always believe in. I'm a strong believer in this, and I always say it to my girlfriend. I say it to everyone who listens. I go, I gotta remember the guy who originally said the quote. I fucking took a snapshot of it a screenshot of it on my phone, but I can't remember his name right off the bat. But he said, what did he say? Yeah, he said there's no such thing as a right or wrong choice, only trade-offs. And man, that has never rang more true in my life, because every bad decision, quote unquote bad decision that I've made, and every quote unquote good decision that I've made has its pros and has its cons. I'd be like, not, I can't think of one decision I've ever made where I went, oh yeah, this decision is 100% good, or a decision where I made that was bad and I thought like, oh yeah, this decision is 100% bad. There was always like specks of good and specks of bad to it. And sometimes those specks can mean, they can change the tide on the whole situation. Sometimes it's just one speck that can make me make that decision. I go, even though clearly this is the best decision, this one speck is going to stop me from doing it, and vice versa. Uh, that's life, right? Life is shades of gray, right? Nuance. And I wish more people thought like that politically. They thought, instead of just going like, I'm blue no matter who, or I'm red till I'm dead. And, like that, I hate that. I like people who sit there and go like, yeah, I like this, but I don't like that. And I go, yeah, well, welcome to being a fucking human, bro. Because that's what we are. And it sucks because everybody's at a different stage in their life, right? Like everyone is, as my friend and I, we're in two different stages. And I believe that there are some people who are yelling at people right now online. There's someone right now, as me and you speak, who is just fucking going off on someone in the comments about Palestine or about gay rights or about anything that's about women, women leading characters like Siri in The Witcher 4. That's a big deal, right? I personally, I wish that they just kept Geralt because I think he's sex aside, gender aside, right? I think Geralt is just a far more interesting character than Siri. And also, The Witcher is named after Geralt. Like the game might as well be called Geralt, The Witcher. So I understand that Siri, I think she's now a Witcher. I don't remember so much the events of part 3. Maybe she did become a Witcher. I know he trained her, and I also know that you can play as Siri in part 3. And I don't remember correctly the story. I don't remember the full story. I don't know if she was taught to be a witcher, or that's just something that happened during four. Like four kind of explains how she became a witcher, because I see her with two swords in the trailer, or the gameplay footage trailer or whatever. But that's my defense. All right, to completely sidestep the whole gender thing. I'm not gonna go at war with anyone. I'm just saying that as characters, I think Geralt's just far more interesting, far more funnier, far more. I don't know. And then to just have him play backup, that hurts, man. But we'll see. Things have changed. I mean, sorry, things have been known to change with video games as time goes on. We'll see how things go on in the future. But it's just crazy, man. It's crazy how we're all viewing life through the. We're all looking at the same picture, but we all have different, like, equipment. We all have different types of lens. My lens can be clearer, some lens can be foggy, other lens can be transparent, other lens can be rose colored. It's like all our lenses are different, but we're all looking at the same picture. That's life. And it's hard to say which one's the normal one, right? I mean, you can argue against what I just said and go, no, it's actually pretty easy. Most people who have the same type of lens, those are normal. And yeah, you're right. You're right. Literally, that's what normal is, right? Like, you look at a group of people and you go, all of them have this in common. That's normal, right? But is normal correct? And here's another question: is being abnormal wrong? If I decide not to have the same lenses that the normal group has, am I wrong? You know what I'm saying? So, like, life, that's what makes it interesting. It's no fucking manual to it. You kind of just have to wake up and just kind of go like, yeah, I'm gonna make some decisions today, and I hope they're good. I hope I live by the end of the day, and I hope I have food. I hope I have money, and I think I have a recipe to be successful. This is the recipe. You wake up at 9. You clock out at 5. You pay this much for your car. You pay for there's recipes. There's molds. There's templates to success, but they don't work for everyone because not everyone's different. Not everyone's the same, but we are the same, right? Physically, but we're not the same emotionally. We all have like the same hardware, but we all have different software, right? Or depending on who you're speaking to, they might think we have all have the same software. Bro, I'll go back and forth with you, and I'll have to carry me out of my own apartment in a fucking straitjacket. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to sit here and judge people on the way they live because I don't live like that. I see things that are wrong. We can all agree there are some things that are wrong, right? As human beings, like if we see someone just getting beat the fuck up for no reason, we can. I would say most people in this world will look at that and go like, man, that's not right, right? So there are things in this world that we, all of us, regardless of our hardware or software, we can go, that ain't right. That ain't right. So I feel like that with. I'll give you a small example, right? Like people who are capable of playing games on harder difficulties, but they choose easy because they want the fastest, most exploitive way. They're like almost cheating in a way. They're cheating without cheating, right? That's kind of like what do you call that? Is it sandbagging? I don't know the phrase. I could be right. I could be wrong. I just learned that word not so long ago, actually. But I think it's, if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's when you are more than capable at a certain level, but you go to a lower level just to beat the shit out of them. Even though that's kind of like a black belt moving down a few belts and then beating the shit out of those people, kind of like that. I feel like there's people who are out there that are like that. They're good. They're capable of playing games on higher difficulties, but they play games on lower difficulties because they don't have the patience to go through the grind. They don't have the patience to. They want they want loot or whatever that the game mechanics of that game has. They want that quicker, and they notice that the quickest way is playing easy. I know people like that, and I'm like, that's pretty. That's kind of cheating in a way, right? Like it's kind of like you're. I don't know. I just, and then someone would look at me and go, well, if you're having fun, does it fucking matter if you're cheating? And I'm like, I can't argue against that neither, right? Because that's literally, I always said this. and this will never change for me. And I don't say never. I'm a very flexible guy. Not physically because I'm almost 40, but I mean mentally I am. Like I'm if you give me better input or better info on something that I've believed for a long time, I'm gonna believe what you just told me. Of course, you have to prove it. I'm not just gonna fucking believe everything that comes out of your mouth. But if you can prove it and you can convince me, I go, yeah, I'm willing to change. I'm not married to any of my ideas, right? So if you come up to me and you say, hey, Danny, you're so against cheating, which I am. I don't like cheating. I don't like exploits. I don't like mods that enable you to become a god or to exploitative. I don't. But if someone comes up to me and goes like, "Yeah, but don't you believe in having fun? Isn't that the main principle of a video game?" And that's what I was going to say earlier. That's something that I will never change no matter what. And that opinion is, and it should be a fact, that video games should be fun. That's the number one principle of a video game. It should be fun. It should be fun. So if you come up to me and you say, "Well, cheating is fun to me." How can I argue against that? How can I sit here and go like, "Oh well, I don't like cheating, so you shouldn't cheat. It's not fair, and this is it makes you a weak person." Do I believe all that? Yeah, I do. I do. But point is, they're still having fun. So now that's my principle. My principle is you're supposed to have fun, and they're like, well, guess what? I'm fucking cheating, and I'm having fun. And I'm like, all right, fuck, you got me. You found a loophole. God damn it. So it's hard. It's hard to correct, quote unquote, correct someone in their ways when it's like maybe they don't need correction. Maybe that's the way they play their games. And but I imagine there can't be much satisfaction to that, right? Like talking about the same friend. I remember I told him, I said he's always flicking through games. He plays multiple games in a day, right? He has a lot more free time than I do. I know he'll get his shit in order. Me and him used to work together, and his life was he had his shit together at one point. Right now, he's going through a slump. I have full confidence he'll get back on his feet. So I believe his situation right now is definitely temporary. And he's a smart dude, man. He'll be on his feet, as soon as he starts to put in the effort. I think he's gotten a little too comfortable. But me and him got into a debate one time, and I remember he plays a bunch of video games. He cycles through them throughout the day. And I remember telling him, I was like, dude, are you even having fun anymore? Because you're just cycling through video games so quickly. And I'm like, are video games fun to you at this point? Or is it just like some sort of a weird habit or addiction that you have going on, Because I can't imagine myself having fun if I'm playing 6 different games a day. Now, once again, someone will easily go, well, yeah, that's what fun is. To me, fun is having fun in one game, then switching to another game, having fun in that game, then switching to another game. And the way my brain works, I can't comprehend that. I understand why someone would do that. It's kind of like looking at porn compilations, right? You get the best part of that scene over and over again in different scenes in one video. I get it, man. You're doing video game porn compilations. That's essentially what you're doing. You're picking a whole bunch of different games and you're going to the best part of that game and enjoying that best part. And then as soon as you enjoy that best part, you had enough, you go on to the next game. So, video game porn hubbing. Maybe there should be some sort of someone should make something up with that. So, I get it, but this is the way my brain is. It's like, no, I opened this up, so I'm gonna be disciplined enough to finish it, right? I ran this game, like in this case, is Cyberpunk, right? I'm not gonna play no other game until I'm fully done Cyberpunk, which I feel like I'm slowly starting to get there. Like I think I did all the side quests, and I explored pretty much the entire city, did all the gigs and stuff. Right now, I'm just doing the main story missions for the base game, which I already finished originally. So I'm gonna finish that and then get into Phantom Liberty, and then I should be done. Then my next game I think might be Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon. I've been foaming at the mouth to play that. So it's either that or Kingdom Come 2. One of those two is gonna take the. I would like for it to be Oblivion remastered, but my computer is like 5 seconds away from blowing up my apartment building every time I play that game. So I don't know. It's I hate to be the devil's advocate guy and just be like, oh well, I can't think of one thing that I solidly believe, and it's like, no, that's not true. I believe in a lot of things that are solid in my life. It's just I'm very understanding. At least I like to think so. And I get his situation, even though it's not perfect. But if you're having fun, you're having fun. But man, there has to be pros and cons, right, to every decision. Cycling through games and not fully finishing them, kind of just extracting the most fun out of it and then moving to another one without seeing a completion. I feel like that just does something to you negatively in the very end. Maybe it kind of just burns out your fucking, what do you call those? The synapses or whatever. It just you kind of just get burnt out. Like I heard today from the ASAP Science guys. I follow those guys. They're great. And he was saying that there's a lot of men, younger men in their 20s and 30s who are suffering from ED, from erectile dysfunction because of excessive porn usage, right? Because they're fucking burning themselves mentally, whacking off regularly, looking at all the hottest women that you can think of, or hottest men that you can think of online, and you're just beating off profusely, and it's causing erectile dysfunction. And I'm like, wow, that's wild, right? And I'm thinking of video games, right? Equate that to video games. Like if you're just taking video games and you're just getting the best part out of that video game and then moving on to another one and then getting the best part of that video game, can you have a mental version of ED? You know what I mean? Like I wonder. I don't know. Yeah, you heard of limp dick. What about limp mind? Is that a thing? I'm out of here, man. I think I've said enough. See you guys.